Ready for brand stories? Get inspired and learn from thought leaders, CEOs, business owners, managers, entrepreneurs, and experts who tell their brand stories and share their first-hand insights. Welcome to BrandsTalk. I'm your host, Brigitte. I support entrepreneurs and organizations like you to become future market leaders by transforming their ambitions and passion into an online brand that radiates beauty, brilliance, and authenticity, attracting the clients and recognition they deserve. Let's get started and dive with me into the world of brands. Today, we are turning tables again. Recently, the incredible Audrey Grubesic, founder of Offsite Dirt, and I sat together on a LinkedIn Live to decode the mysteries of two terms that are often confused: branding and marketing. In this exciting episode, we explore the power of branding, the importance of understanding your brand identity, and the crucial role marketing plays in communicating that identity to your audience. So, whether you are an entrepreneur, a marketer, or someone curious about the brand's power, this podcast episode is sure to provide you with some valuable insights. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to LinkedIn Live. I am Audrey Grubesic, your host with Offsite Dirt, and we are talking branding versus marketing. We have Brigitte with us today, and she is going to take the lead on this amazing opportunity for you to grow in your business, in your personal brand, and your business brand. And really, we're going to be talking about why is this so important, right, Brigitte? How are you today?
Hi, Andre. I'm fine. Thank you. And thank you for having me. How are you today?
I'm so good. It's so good to be with you on a Saturday. We usually don't do these, but I really think it's important for us to kind of engage and take it back a little bit, relax a little bit, and really talk about something that's so important for businesses. So, how do you feel about jumping right in?
I feel great. Let's do it. Should I take over?
Here we go. We are all set.
All right. So hello, everyone. So I'm sure there was a moment when you guys wondered why some brands are a fleeting trend while others stand the test of time, or why some are successful and others a flash in the pan, why some brands soar while others get lost in the crowd. Yeah, why some businesses shine and others fade. And you might think, that's marketing, huh? No, it's not just about marketing. It really is about building a brand that resonates. And there are many here who confuse these terms. And what I want to do here today is really setting these terms straight. We will unravel in these mysteries of branding versus marketing, or branding and marketing. And there's some other terms out there that you might also confuse, like brand identity, brand image. What does this all mean? Isn't that all the same? No, it's not. So we are going to decode the mysteries of branding versus marketing today. And this is going to be a very interactive session. My first question to you, think about the last time, maybe the last couple of weeks, when you had an absolute exceptional experience with a brand. What brand comes to mind when you think of that exceptional customer service or whatever it was, and how did they create that positive experience for you? Can you think of a brand? Maybe an online retailer, or you went into a store, you had a great experience there, or let's say with a telecommunications company, or a hotel that you stayed at.
There's so many. Like last night I was watching Netflix, right? There's just so many out there.
Yeah. So what experience did you have with Netflix? What makes you feel good? What is so different?
Every time I love Netflix, and I'll tell you why. I am not a big TV person, but there are those times when I know that I can watch a series. And I think I love that about Netflix. I love that I know I can watch a documentary. I know that I can watch these series. I feel like they have selected the different movies in the series specific for what makes it important for me. So I feel like they kind of know me as their client. And there's just something about the ease, right? The ease of being able to turn on my TV, get the little button for Netflix, and there we are. I'm able to stream movies. I'm able to stream series.
Exactly. And that's what it is. Yeah. For you, it makes it easy to handle the whole experience from switching on until switching off, makes it easy peasy and enjoyable. You're feeling something with it, isn't it?
It's absolutely a positive experience for sure.
Positive
Mhm.
experience. Conversely, is there any brand that you recently interacted with and this experience was not such a good one? You really, it's like, what is going on with that brand? And what was it that contributed to that negative experience you had with that brand? What was going wrong? Something that is an absolute no go. For example, I had a very negative experience with a food brand, and the packaging claimed like, wow, the ingredients are natural and healthy. But when I tried the product, it tasted totally artificial and really like that quality there advertised. They didn't live up to my expectations, not at all. So I was frustrated because I was, you know, eating that with an expectation of doing something good to my body, and it felt completely different. It felt completely different. Yeah. So that was frustrating for me. Can that brand live up to the expectations? And the feeling that what I had is really associated, not a really good one. Yeah. Anything you came across, Audrey?
I think about negative brands. I think food is always a big one, right? Because it affects you. If you have you get sick from food, if there is a customer service issue, those are always really big for me because I'm there to have an experience and I want the experience to be good. But I also think about other brands like maybe clothing and things that
Yeah.
I've bought from a certain store. And I have this expectation in my mind, with a certain shoe brand. I want those shoes or those gym shoes to last for a long time. And if they're not, that's an issue, right? I'm feeling like I'm dissatisfied.
Yeah.
So I don't want to call it any particular ones, but I've definitely had those experiences.
Yeah, me too, especially with shoes and with clothing as well. So when it comes, you're expecting like really good quality because they advertise that, they emphasize that, and then you just open the parcel and then, oh my God, what quality is that? Where is that from? Where what is actually made? So that leaves also a very negative impression of a brand. And the other thing is you share that with others. So there's a
Yes, you
multiplier effect.
do. Mhm.
So these negative experiences travel very fast and go viral very fast. Brands are not really anticipating the consequences that it has, right? All right. My next question. So I'm to you guys with a lot of questions. What branding is about or brands is about. Don't think too much. What brand comes up top of mind when you think of coffee? What is out there? What's the first name that comes up?
Well, obviously, there's the biggest one. And the biggest one for me is probably Starbucks. That's the one that I would automatically think about.
Yeah. For me too. And there are other ones like what I very often hear about is Nespresso, is Tim Thornton, it's Pete's Coffee, it's Dunkin' Donuts, it's also McDonald's. McDonald's has really good coffee. We shouldn't underestimate McDonald's as a fast food chain, but the coffee is really good. Yeah, so absolutely. And what kind of thoughts and feelings come up? What associations come up with that brand when you hear Starbucks? What is the first thing that comes up?
For me, it's always been about, I would say, it's more about being able to go there and having a business meeting.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I know that, there's always that comfort of, I know what kind of drink I want to have. I know that it will be fast, it'll be ready, it'll be warm. But really, I actually love Starbucks because I think I like the actual different places that they have. I love that I can always have free Wi-Fi there. So me, it's not only about the actual drinking the product, but it's actually the experience I have in the store or the retail place.
Exactly. It's the unique store atmosphere that we have with it. It's very comfy. You can sit there for hours. You have Wi Fi, you can work, you can get more coffee, so that the whole package that comes along with it. And for me, as a world traveler, as a global traveler, for me, it was always a safe haven where I know, oh my God, I need coffee, especially, 20 years ago when you are traveling countries that are not having a coffee culture, but I need my coffee in the morning. I know there is this quality that stays the same everywhere. It's always shows that you have quality across the world, that it has a stable quality across the world around, yeah, continuously. And this shows that this is a brand that cares. It wants to have the same look and feel across different country markets. Yeah, and it always has these limited editions and special coffees at the specific time or season during the year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like pumpkin spice. Pumpkin
Oh
spice
yes,
always comes
I
up after the
love
fog, right?
or gingerbread spice. This is my favorite. Yes, they
Yeah.
also innovations. And when you
Mhm.
think about the color, what does the color mean to you? Does it bring something? Does it bring up a feeling?
The green always just makes me feel like earthy, maybe. Like I feel like they're definitely, and I love that they use products that are more biodegradable. So for me, that's kind of what I feel with green. What do you feel about it?
Yeah, so I also feel like it's kind of earthy, but also the organic aspect of it.
Sustainability. Hmm.
Yeah, and something positive. And it's interesting because colors mean something. And when we think of green, usually it's about refreshment. And that really stands also for that brand because it's a drink, right? It also has some growth aspect in it. It's also associated with call to action. So come by me in that sense. Yeah, it's something that you don't need to be afraid of. So green, like green light, it's a go, take action. So there's a lot of also in the philosophy and theory of colors that come along with that. But also when it comes to the logo, we have to be careful, especially when we're looking across borders. What is a goal when you want to grow as a brand? Yeah, what is allowed in one country, what is not allowed in another country. When they expanded in 92 into the Arabian market, they had to ditch the mermaid because it's more
Interesting.
inappropriate in for Muslim clientele. You have to be careful, and when you start a brand and you want to grow a brand across borders, take that into consideration that you might need to adapt also on that level. Yeah, Starbucks, that's a coffee we drink worldwide, and it's always a good example, especially when we're dealing with a global crowd, right? But not only about the logo and the colors, that's what we have just learned, right? Because we talked a lot about how we feel when we are experiencing a brand. It's all about the feelings. I came up with something like, yeah, that brand is a construct and that transcends the mere aesthetics such as the logo and the colors, and it germinates from one's mindset. That means that a brand is created based on what kind of story we want to tell, how we want to present ourselves in the market, and what do we others want to feel about us. And before we go into that, I would like to introduce myself a little bit because I haven't done yet. There might be people out there, they have never heard about me. So hello, I am Brigitte. Everyone calls me Bridget, so stay with Bridget, but you can also say Brigitte. And I support entrepreneurs and organizations to transform their ambitions and their passion into irresistible brands that radiate this beauty, brilliance, and authenticity, attracting the clients and the recognition they deserve. That's my mission. And I consider myself as a global and personal brand identity strategist. I focus on particular things of branding, but also see it as a holistic thing. And now a little bit about me, about the story why. I went a very unconventional route. My journey is not a straightforward thing. I started out as a flight attendant. And what I learned in that chapter of my life is, first of all, to get a global perspective on things, and that there are different cultures, different mentalities out there in the world that associate different things with brands or with products and services. They attach different meanings to it. We need to understand other people's doing, perceptions, attitudes towards things. They can be different. And when we talk about something, we have to make sure we talk about the same thing. And then the way of, how we experience a brand or a service. For me as a flight attendant flying for that airline, it was all about creating exceptional experiences. And that's what I incorporated. That's what I'm living and breathing since then, or I have been living and breathing since then. It's part of my life. It has become part of my life to make sure that my clients really get the best possible experience with me, with my services. And as was it like at that time? At that time, we made sure that each single passenger had the best possible experience with us. And then over time, I was intellectually not really challenged. I was questioning, so what is the next step? When I studied, I wanted to know, first of all, I needed to have a plan going forward in my future. I knew that was not it, but it was also, I just wanted to know what is behind all of that. How do you actually start a business? How does marketing function? What are the frameworks behind? I want to get to know the tools that I need in order to maybe sooner or later become an entrepreneur myself. But it didn't happen right away. So from a student then into corporate, from corporate back to becoming a student, because I wanted to do my doctorate. I became a doctor, so PhD in international marketing and management on top of my master's business education. So I'm also a certified teacher because I like to educate people. This is part of my life. And combining that with the international aspect and then with branding and marketing, it became kind of a full circle thing. And then in corporate, it was the time that in 2008, the financial crisis kicked in, and I lost my job as the head of a market research for a big global real estate company, development company. And I started teaching full time because I did already on the side. Then I became kind of a full professor, but non-tenure, just a teaching professor. But I also knew it was not my end goal. I knew there needed to be something more to come, because I was not the traditional professor. I did not fit in. By all means, I did not fit into this traditional way of, kind of, it's good enough for the rest of my life. No, I'm not this type of person. And it was great. I learned a lot, and then COVID kicked in. My contract terminated at the same time, and then I started my own business, BridgetBrands. And also here, it was difficult because I had to pivot. I had to be really flexible, starting my business and finding a way through. Started my podcast. I became an author. And then through trial and error, I went through all the stages of an entrepreneur. I looked at everything. I did everything that an entrepreneur needs to do and to learn, to fail to get up, to fail to get up. And you become very resilient. And that's where I am today, helping my clients to build a brand and also to become visible. I never allowed myself to be really visible. This is one of my big learnings in my life, to really allow myself to put myself out there, to be courageous no matter what. And that is what I help others with, creating an identity, whether it's a personal brand, a company brand, or a product or service brands. It's all about creating identity.
I love that, Bridget. I just want to kind of interrupt you for a second, because I think that the one thing that's so amazing about you is that you speak this, you walk the talk, and you actually have these experiences, and then you have this amazing degree in it. It's not like you're just coming into this and thinking, I'm going to be this branding expert, I'm going to be this expert. You literally have the background, and you've went from your job and position as a flight attendant and traveling the world and seeing things globally and really understanding the global market, which many people probably don't know, that you're in Austria, but you also come to the United States and you work with national brands there as well. But the background is so fascinating because I think when we talk about marketing and advertising and branding and all of these different pieces, people kind of just maybe lean into who did they talk to that they heard that somebody might be able to help them. But they don't really research it and find out for themselves to really know someone with your background. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for allowing us to get to know you a little bit better. And I do love that you also have went into this entrepreneurial space because like you said, there are so many pieces to a business for an entrepreneur. There's so many different strategies. There's so many things to consider, and you've lived it. And like you said, we both get up and we push forward every day, and it's maybe not the easiest task for us, but we know going through these experiences and actually sharing and teaching and learning, we can actually grow. And that's really, you've done such a phenomenal job in that space.
Thank you. You know what? We cannot all make the same mistakes. We need to live like, I don't know how many 100 years to do that. Why not, getting someone who can just support you by not making those mistakes and explains that to you? I think this is really, that's how we serve others to make it easier to go through this roller coaster ride. It is
Yes.
one because you're very lonely, right? At times, isn't it, Audrey? And that's
It
why I love
is.
know each other because we need to have this exchange on that level with people who are in the same situation and going through the same struggle. I think that is the key, and that there is so much learning, and some are a little faster in this. You exchange ideas, you work, you're inspiring each other, you lift each other when you are not doing fine. We are vulnerable, and there is so much growth also in sharing your story with others who are on the same journey. That's just unbelievable. And I just love that. And that's why we're also doing this LinkedIn Live, because we want to share what we are going through, where we are coming from, why we are doing what we are doing. Because each step, and that's why I showed the steps, is so important for what we are going to become. We are always becoming, but parts of the flight attendant is so special, and that is part of my unique blend and who I am and how I offer my service. Part of being a student, part of being a corporate, part of having been a professor. This all goes into that. It's kind of a blend of so many different aspects that make one thing really stick out. And that's also about branding. You want to be different than others. And if not so much different, then you want to be better than others.
I agree. So I'm going to just jump into all of our guests that may not know me. My name's Audrey Grabesic. I have a consulting company called Modular Sure Site. So I'm pretty much a project manager for developers, community designers, builders, and that are looking to get into offsite construction solution. Many people here may not know what offsite is, but basically it is a product that is manufactured in a facility and then assembled on site. So there's so many amazing benefits. And then the other thing that I have created is Offsite Dirt, and that's who's presenting this event for Bridget and I. And basically, we are showcasing personal, professional, business stories, current news, techniques, technologies. We also talk about high performance, distribution, supply chain, and then we do things that are really unique for our businesses. Last month, we did something on building a website and really understanding what that strategy is. And when I've talked to Bridget so many times, and we have many stories of hers on our website on Offsite Dirt, I'm just fascinated by people that can allow and others to grow, and also that can really make such an impact by doing small things with the person that's the expert. And that's really how I see Bridget. So very happy to host here today, really happy to be with her. And we're going to jump back into this with you, Bridget. So let's talk about how a brand needs to make you feel.
Yeah, because everyone needs a brand. It's not an option anymore. It's really essential for long-term competition to compete in the marketplace. And it's a promise you make to those you serve, the foundation of customer loyalty, driving these lasting relationships with them. And you can only do that when you connect with them on this visceral level. It's all about a brand needs to make you feel. It's not only how people think about you, how people talk about you when you're not in the room. We all know about that, right? No, it's so much more. It's about feeling it. And people are not purchasing just a product or a service. They purchasing an experience, and they're purchasing and feeling it, how it makes you feel. Think about a brand that makes you feel good. I always come back to an example because I think mostly in the North American markets, Lululemon is a brand I love to wear. It's a gear. If I jump into this workout gear, I feel empowered. It makes something with me. I want to feel good, and I purchase brands because I want to feel good. And that's about it. And Maya Angelou really hits it. And she said, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that's why you're gonna go back. That's why I traveled back to a hotel in Marrakesh. I was already and would not never go anywhere else because they made me feel like so special. This was a special experience. That is something that you want to create. Your brand is one of your most important assets that you can have. It gives you an organization and identity. Some stats in between, because this is also interesting. There's a study out there, and especially when it comes to younger generations like the millennials and the Gen Zs, and then now I'm sure the alphas that are coming right after the Gen Zs, even more so, they make decisions with purpose in mind. The findings that consumers buy brands that stand for a greater mission and purpose, it's 82%. 76% purchase a brand because it makes the world a better place. And then 67% purchase because it makes them feel a better person. It says a lot already. But how do we attach that meaning into our brand? How do we attach that purpose into our brand? And that's considered branding. Yeah. So branding shapes how others perceive you as a brand. With a corporate brand, a personal brand, everyone is a personal brand, but people are not aware of it. Yeah. Everything can be branded, a place, a cause, everything out there. Yeah, but you really need to be conscious about that. So branding is this iterative process shaping a certain perception in a very unique way so we can connect with the hearts of the customers. It's really crafting a personality that amplifies the core elements of your brand's DNA. And marketing, on the other hand, delivers. A brand defines, marketing delivers. A brand shapes how others perceive you. Marketing is how you share that perception. It's the tools that you use. And there are different ways of how to do that. For example, we call it above the line and below the line and between the line marketing. These are kind of techniques, methods that you use. Above the line would be very traditional, one-way communication, mass market communication. It's untargeted because we go fully out there. Yeah, we are speaking to everyone. That's a broadcasting, television, then we have radio, we have print. Yeah, one way. Below marketing is the two-way communication that we have then. It's more this direct messaging. It's about point of sales promotions in a retail store, for example. These are more where we interact two-way communication with our customers. And then we have kind of in between through the line marketing where we have this holistic approach of integrated marketing communications, 360 degree, where we do all the different kinds of things, all the customer touch points. That is marketing. It's a tool to deliver the message. But the branding comes before. Yeah? The branding is actually at the core of the marketing. Here is where they overlap. You need to first define yourself, and then you can market it. Because there's people out there, when I talk to them, they say, oh yes, I already have someone who does the marketing campaigns, but what do you market? What is it? No, yeah, this is this or that. Yeah, but what is the personality? Who are you? Or who is the product? What meaning do you attach to that product that you're marketing? What is it? And then, I'm not sure. Yeah, branding comes first and then marketing. Yeah, but there is a priority. Just to make that sure again, or to kind of clear that noise that is out there. With branding, you're strategizing for, a story. You're telling your heritage, your future, your values, everything that is about your brand, your story that you're telling. And by doing so, you're building trust, with your clients, with all the stakeholders, with all the people that you talk to directly or indirectly. You're developing an identity that elicits the feelings from all of them, especially, of course, from your clients, because you also want to earn money. This is something that you have to do as a company, also responsible for your employees. Yeah? Altogether, it shapes how others perceive you. So on the other hand, marketing is really that supports that stories with these initiatives, with events, with campaigns. It builds trust through that campaigns, the tools that you use to deliver, and it's how you shape that perception. It's actually the implementing phase, how you actually deliver your brand. Yeah, so that is basically that. And to bring even more clarity into the whole realm of branding, I want to talk a little bit about brand identity and brand image, because this is also very often confused. Yeah, isn't it the same? No, it is not. So brand identity is something that you communicate. We go back to the other slide, please. Let's stay there, because it visualizes it. It's so beautiful. You see this woman in front of the mirror, right? So she is dressed in a certain way. She looks a certain way. We feel something when we see her, and she looks into the mirror. And when you are building an identity and you do that intentionally, you know who you are, but you also know who you want to attract with that. Now imagine in the mirror, you see your customer. The customer actually mirrors you, how you present yourself, and they create in their hearts and minds the image. Yeah, something that you're showing, and that needs to be in sync. And when that is in sync, then you have a clear brand message, a really clear brand identity that is reflected in the intended way. That's how it works. And now we can move on to the next slide. And how do we build that? And as I said, you need to first know who you are as a brand. Who am I? In what industry am I playing? What category? What vertical? What needs to be satisfied? What desires to be satisfied? And this is the fundament. You need to know about that. And then on what you are, your performance, pricing, design, everything goes into that, the characteristics, but then also the brand imagery. And here, this is all about user profiles, purchase and usage situations, personality that you attach to your brand, but always with the thought, whom am I talking to? Here, your ideal client comes in, because you are, as a brand, very often the extension of your customer self. So when you buy a Porsche, you hear that very often. Yeah, it's kind of an extension of myself. You represent yourself with that car. You represent yourself with the Lululemon clothes that you have on. There is a reason why you are going for an Apple or a Samsung. Yeah, it says something about you, and we need to understand what that is. So you're creating your brand accordingly. That is pushing out a certain identity and image. And that is reflected by the responses of your clients, of your audience, in terms of judgments, what they think about you, what they say about you, but also in terms of feelings. How do they feel about you? What makes them feel? So that needs to be aligned. And that's the beautiful duality of a brand, the rational side and the heart side, the emotional side. And when you understand that and bring that together, then you can build long-term relationships with your audience. When this is in place, then you can do so. And that's why you can't make shortcuts in branding. And It says also richness. I don't want to forget about that, because it's all about what does a brand mean to you. The richness means they think of you in the different usage situation. They think of you when they do this, when they do that. They have different associations attached with it. There are different benefits. There are different needs that you can satisfy. There's a lot that the brand kind of plays a role in your life. For me, Apple plays a huge role in my life because my whole workstation is built up, because it helps me, it makes it easy, everything is integrated. So it just takes a lot of burden off because I'm not a technical person. You know what I mean? So next slide. It's brand building here. You really need to make sure I have to start at the beginning. Who are you? Who I am, what I am, who is my client, who is my customer. And yeah, so it really, that takes time to understand who you are, creating an identity as a person or as a company for your products, for your services, for your corporation. There's a lot of work in it and a lot of thinking. You're going through a lot of discovery work with yourself, with your team, with everyone, because it's about living, and it's an identity that lives and breathes with you. It grows with you. It's nothing that is static, because you are evolving and the brand needs to evolve over time, because we are exposed to external influences, to political influences. The industry is changing, innovations are coming up, consumer behaviors are changing. On all these different levels, you need to stay up to date and compete. And not only in a rational way, but also on an emotional way. How do I really make my brand, give my brand a personality that represents who we are and attracts my customers that I want to serve?
Well, it's really interesting that you're saying this, and everything that is coming to my mind is really about knowing who you are, right?
Yeah.
All of these questions that you're asking, who am I? What am I? What about me? What about you and me? These are such important questions that we don't really ever stop to think and really design it. So I love that you are asking those questions. And then also, what is the feeling that your audience has about your brand? Do you know what that is? And having someone in your space that's a strategist really allows us to ask those questions and start becoming more clear. Because you're right, I think there's so many outside things that are changing around us. And to be able to strongly know who we are, even as a personal brand, really defines it, right?
And it's an iterative process. It's nothing that you do at one point in time. You have to continuously do that and refresh and revamp. A Coca-Cola is also not a static thing. It has changed the shape and the design of the logo because it went with time, with the trend. But there are some things that stay, like the bottle. The bottle has an identity. There is no other bottle out there that has the same shape. I mean, this is now we're going very deep already, but yeah, the essence.
I agree.
And a lot of businesses just jump over that critical part of doing business. Yeah.
So I'm going to make you feel a little uncomfortable, Bridget, and sorry to interrupt you, but I really want to talk about you as a powerful woman. And I think it's so lovely that you have some individuals that have really, have these wonderful testimonials, because I think that this shapes us to understand a little bit more about you. And so this beautiful quote, please.
Yeah, this is a professor that we, over time, just stayed in touch. And I have been teaching with his school books. This is literature that you have to have in Ivy schools. So his course books are the most popular course books worldwide. So he's a renowned author and also professor. He was on my podcast, on my show as well. And we were pretty conversation we had. And so, yeah, he sees that in me. He watched me becoming, an entrepreneur, embarking this journey, coming from academia, and using everything that I have learned and putting it into practice, and helping other people by doing so. So we
And
are.
I'm just going to read it. And I'm just going to read it. Bridget has set up her own successful company, BridgetBrands, within the very short time. I have great respect for her determination and energy in such a competitive industry. At the same time, I admire her positive attitude, which underpins her authentic personal brand. She is truly a branding expert. I love that. Thank you. That's so sweet.
And I think if you're not passionate, if you're not doing it with all who you are, it's hard to sustain that, because you need to have perseverance until your business takes off. Yeah.
I agree. And so, what kind of services, what do you offer with BridgetBrands?
I offer, so what I help them, as you know, creating brand identities. I offer one-on-one exclusive coaching, which I really love, because at the university, I had 500 students in a classroom. I had 30 students in a classroom, but never worked one-on-one other than with like masterpieces supervision. But I love to guide people over like 3 months to get their branding right. I have developed my own entrepreneurial 3-step branding blueprint that helps them to really get them through where they are as a business owner and with a strong brand. It's starting with mindset, with continuing with personal branding, and then with company branding. We go through all these different stages. And then I also do group coaching. It's not only one-on-one, but let's say small group, intimate groups of 4. I also run challenges online over 3 days. I do master classes, but I also do company workshops. That means I either go virtually or literally physically into a company, work with executives, either on their refreshing, revamping their brand identity, because companies are also living things. You are taking over another company or acquiring another company. You need to integrate that into your own one. What does it do? It just changes the dynamic. You're taking on a new entity. You need a new hierarchy. You have maybe different brands in your house. How do you position them? Yeah, that needs to be thought about. This is really, I love it. It's interesting work to do to align that. But also company workshop when it comes to aligning personal and organizational values. Because when you work as a person in a company, you dedicate a lot of time to your workplace and to the success of the company. But it can only work well, and you can only be a good company and a thriving company, successful company, when a certain, the value set is aligned, when you're living a culture that is healthy, because everything that you're doing inside has an effect to the outside world. It shines through the barista in the Starbucks coffee house, and it has an effect on the client. When I, as a flight attendant, I'm almost crying and don't care about my passengers, then they wouldn't want to fly with me anymore. These people are crazy there, yeah? It's all you are as a person, as an employee, representing your company. You're an advocate. You are a spokesperson for your company. This is another, aspect of branding. It's employee branding. Yeah? I also do workshops that align these values, this vision, so that there is a healthy company culture that is established for the organization. Yeah, these are the things that I'm doing. Yeah. Oh yeah, one of my clients, she's a senior doctor, she's an intelligent woman, I tell you. She studied also at Harvard, and she's a dermatologist and specializes in skin and venereal diseases. And she started her own private practice, and I helped her on her journey. And I'm still doing now.
I love it. And I'm just going to read. During my brand building, I had the privilege of meeting the wonderful and adorable Bridget, who is talented in many ways. She always has a positive charisma and numerous ideas, which I love. Numerous ideas is always key, individually tailored and on point to the company. She puts her heart and soul into it and burns for her passion, namely to help her clients to succeed and grow. I just love when people can give these testimonials, because There's so many ideas out there, like we've already talked about and we've defined about branding and marketing and advertising. And really, as you said, it all states back to really knowing your brand. What a beautiful way to represent the work that you've done. Congratulations. That's really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, let's open the floor for question answers if there are any out there.
I'm waiting for them. I keep asking them to come in. Everybody's a little shy today, Bridget. It's kind of a little weird that, but it's okay because maybe people are just trying to identify and learn a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a lot of, food for thought in this
There
in this
is.
conversation today,
There
right?
is. There
So
is.
yeah, but I'm also available just on LinkedIn. Send me a message if you have any more questions, if you want to get to know me better. Let's sit down for a virtual coffee and no strings attached. And yeah, 20 minutes
I think
and
that's smart, right? Because maybe people might be intimidated, right? They think one thing and they don't know. But I'd love to, this is such a great quote.
yeah,
Your
it's the same.
brand is the single most important investment you can make in your business. How
Yeah,
does that not tell you a story about who you are and what you're doing?
yeah. It's, your brand. When we talk about brand equity, it's like a technical term in branding, but the brand equity is the premium that a customer is willing to pay because of your brand. Think about Red Bull and any other drink out there. There is a huge difference in the price. People
There
are
is.
willing to pay that much more. They're willing to pay that much more for an Apple iPhone because even though it might have fewer features and it does, it's the functions are maybe less than others, but it's about the brand. It's how you feel with it, it's the design, it's everything, the whole package that comes along with that. And that's what you want to create, and that's
I
how we're
mean,
building brands. That's about brand identity.
mhm.
Yeah.
We're going to jump in a little bit into your personal space. And, when you look at Bridget Brands, what attracted you to your colors? And maybe share to the audience what your colors and your brand means to you.
Yeah, so my colors are red and orangey and white and black and gray. There is a history about that because the airline I flew with, it was all about red and white and gray. And so red was always a preferred color, and I like red, and I think it looks good. I like red lipstick. I had to wear it all the time. I still do. Sometimes like today. But it represents also something. Red is about it's showing power. It represents my passion I have for life and for my business, and it's exciting. It represents excitement, right? And then we have the orange that's also energizing, but a little playful as well. And this rejuvenating character that it has, and also creating a sense of let's do something. It's not haste, but it's being active, yeah, taking the next step. And then the black brings in this more the luxury part. I like beautiful things, this is how I am. And the sophistication and certain exclusive, achieving this excellence. And it also shows authority, I think, because I work on a pretty high level when I work with my clients, of course. And the white space, it's, the purity that comes in, the cleanliness, the freedom. And I enjoy freedom. And that's, I think, what most of us as an entrepreneur likes is the freedom of making our own decisions and not being put into a box.
Oh man, you've hit so many great aspects of your brand and what you're doing. And as the audience can kind of see and hear, there was so much thought that went into it. There was so much about yourself internally, to knowing yourself, to being able to design and create that. And so that journey really starts with having someone that can direct you and lead you and help you to expand. So when somebody comes up and let's just say they do a virtual coffee with you, how does that work? Do you work with their personal brand first? Do you work with their business brand? Like, how does that process work?
No, a virtual coffee is not a long coffee. It lasts as long as it lasts, usually scheduled for either 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and then usually it's longer anyway. But it's all about them. It's not about me because it's about their journey and the way of how I can support them. I will ask a lot of questions, of course, because I need to get to know them. What is the pain? What is the desire? Where are the problems? What keeps them up at night, sleepless? That's what I want to figure out. Where do they see themselves? What is their future? And it starts there where then some not really are able to describe it exactly. Actually, everything starts with having a vision. It's a vision. What is the why I'm here? And that needs to be figured out for a lot. And then the values. How do I get there? In what way do I get there? How do I, act? How do I interact with other people? And then built on that, you start with defining your personal brand. It's really a process. And,
I love that.
some part is harder, it takes longer than for some. It's just more difficult. And I had a client, it was more about having already different brands and making sense of it and putting it together in a smart, organized hierarchy so that people understand what she or he offers and how that all goes together. I love that. This is a thing that, yeah, it's challenging and it's just great.
And it's exciting. And you kind of know when you're talking to your clients, obviously you've got your PhD in this amazing, experience and understanding of this. And so it just makes it so much more exciting to be able to work with someone that can actually lead it. We actually have a question that showed up, which is really exciting. Any tips on how to brand and market a construction service?
Yeah, so that is a really good question. Honestly, the framework is applicable to everything. It's first all about your brand core. The brand core, who you are as a brand, your vision, mission, and values, and then what kind of personality you want to attach to a construction business, how you want to live your brand internally, what is your strategy, what is your structure, how you express your brand identity visually. That needs all goes in line, but it all starts with one thing that needs to be first. It's your brand core. There is a framework that has been done research on for decades by Harvard, and that's what I'm using for a brand identity. It's called the brand identity matrix, and that goes in all of that. So it's a construct that I use for helping figure that out, and what applies for one industry also applies for another. It's just, the people are different and the visions are different, but how to create an identity is basically the recipe for it is basically the same.
That's what I love. I love that this crosses all borders. It crosses all industry. It crosses all key assets to who we are. And I think that's the beautiful thing. And I love that you're teaching things from such a hierarchy. I mean, to teach something from Harvard University and to know that you're working with an individual that really understands that is, I honestly, Bridget, that's the one thing that I really value your expertise and your education and your application, and also your authenticity and making people feel very comfortable. These are hard things. Asking yourself who you are, how hard is that? That's not an easy question. It doesn't just come up in one sentence or one word, right? Really difficult, delicate things that we have to learn about ourselves and to express.
Yeah, it's a very hard process. And I think for me, it was much more difficult to get there where I am on my entrepreneurial journey. It was more difficult than writing a doctoral thesis, I tell you. Yeah, but I got it.
I could take your word for that. I don't know if that would be for me. I would say it would probably be the other way around, but it's nice to hear that. Well, we are so excited to be able to bring this to our audience. So excited to share it on LinkedIn Live. I think that these are the programs that make us better in our business. Being able to share and being able to grow, like we kind of mentioned at the beginning, is how we do it. In closing, Bridget, is there anything that you'd like to leave our audience?
Yeah, start early with branding. It's really an integral part of how you are going to be perceived. And if you're not branding yourself, others gonna brand you and you might not like it.
I think that's
Be
beautiful.
fair.
Beautiful, beautiful wisdom from a beautiful woman. Now we are very clear about branding versus marketing. They are not the same. It starts with branding first. And always, Bridget at Bridget Brands is here to help you. Look her up on LinkedIn. She's available. She has BridgetBrands.com, so you can always find her there as well. And I'm Audrey Robetic with Offsite Dirt. Anything else you want to know about construction, Sabir, I'm here for you. I would love to talk with you as well, so make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you to our audience. Thank you for being here on a Saturday and sharing your time with us. We are so grateful and thankful for all of you, and we just want to have more peace, more synergy, and love in the world, and we know we can do that by sharing things like this. So, Bridget, I'm grateful and thankful for you. Have a great day, and thanks again for being here with me.
Thank you so much, Audrey. I'm grateful for you too. Thank you so much for having me.
If you like my show, follow BrandsTalk on your preferred app, share it on social media, and if you find a minute or two, leave a quick rating or review. Thank you so much. If you want me to guide you to become a future market leader by transforming your ambitions and passion into an online brand that radiates beauty, brilliance, and authenticity, attracting the clients and recognition you deserve, drop me an email. I'd love to be your guide on your hero journey. Check out my website, BridgetBrands.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I hope you will stay tuned in on the next episode when we dive into the world of brands.